So we talked about this, the most improved player for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Who is in line to be that? Well, I've got three people that I've got picked out here. The first one, and this is no surprise. Everybody has talked about this guy having to have a bigger role with the Steelers, and that's Darnell Washington. I know he slid in the draft because he had a knee injury. And I know there's been some reports that his knee's still not 100%, and it's probably never going to be 100%. But I saw him making plays at Georgia with that same knee injury. So I think he's got a lot more that he brings to the table. Now, look, him being an extra blocker, as you can see, he can dominate at the point of attack. There's just no ifs, ands, or buts about that. The guy is a monster blocking. Big, strong, physical. He can blow you off the line of scrimmage. He can also get out in space, get to the second level as a blocker. So you got to use him as that. But he's more than capable of what the Steelers used him last year. He can do more than that. He's not just a guy, hey, we're play side, one side, we're going to bootleg out and dump off to a 2 or 3 yard gain, on the backside. He can do more than that. He can get out in space and catch the ball in space. He can also be a gigantic red zone target, getting open in the red zone. Somebody that even if he's a decoy where people just have to cover him, throw him the ball every now and then. I think he can do more than that. And I think in this offense where we're going to see a lot more imagination, I think Darnell Washington is going to be a guy that gets a bigger role. Again, he doesn't have to go out and have 50 catches a game. Pat Freiermuth is there, but in what we're trying to do, I believe he's got to have a bigger role. He's going to have a huge role in the blocking game, in the run game, and with his blocking. Absolutely, he's going to have that. But when it comes to the passing game, I think his role is going to increase. That's going to be good for the Steelers. I like that. Put Darnell Washington down as a guy to watch for most improved for the Pittsburgh Steelers. The next guy, I mentioned him earlier, Nick Herbig. Yeah, I like Nick Herbig. 3 sacks last year. With what he's capable of doing, I wouldn't be surprised if he doesn't double that this year. Now, granted, he's a backup. There's no ifs, ands, or buts. TJ Watt, in my opinion, the best defensive player in the league. Alex Highsmith, one of the best pass rushers in the league. He also plays the run well. He's playing behind those guys, and they're going to get the overwhelming majority of the snaps. But we know this Pittsburgh Steelers defense. We know how it works. You have to have guys to give those guys a spell. They can't be, if it's 100 plays, they can't be out there 85 plays and thinking that we're going to get quality production out of that. No, you've got to have guys that are capable of coming into the game and giving them a spell with the defense not dropping off near as much. I think Nick Herbig is that guy. A little bit more strength, a little bit more athleticism. He brings that to the table. Again, I thought he had a pretty good year last year, but I think his role is going to be expanded this year. Like I mentioned before, in a nickel or a dime package, maybe you slide Highsmith or Watt inside. You put him on the outside and let him rush. Or maybe you even have him being a middle linebacker, an inside linebacker, rushing from that position. Who knows? He can do a lot. He did a lot at Wisconsin. I think he can do even more here with Pittsburgh. I just like Nick Herbig's upside. I like it. I think it's going to be good for the Steelers. I think he's a guy that everybody needs to keep their eyes on moving forward. So keep your eyes on Nick Herbig. The last guy, man, Calvin Austin III. We talked a lot about number 2 receivers. Now, having Calvin Austin III being on this list, it requires something from other people for him to have the kind of breakout year. Because if Roman Wilson does not win the number 2 job, I believe the Steelers are going to go out and get somebody to be the number 2 receiver, which is going to drop Wilson down in the pecking order, which means he'll be the slot receiver. Well, if he's the slot receiver, then Calvin Austin, what's he going to be, the 4th guy? Well, how many catches is the 4th guy going to have on a season? 7? So that's not really impactful. But if Roman Wilson can lock down that spot, I think this is Calvin Austin's job to lose. I think the Steelers like him. I think that he's got the ability to have a breakout year if he can be the slot receiver. Again, we were going to have an offensive coordinator that's going to have a lot more imagination. Yeah, he's going to get some reverses. He's going to get some jet sweeps that are going to go to him. But I also think he's going to get some over routes coming out of the slot, underneath routes coming out of the slot, some seam routes coming out of the slot. You already know that he can take the top off of a defense. We've seen that several times from him. So there's going to be a lot of different things that he's going to have the opportunity to do within this offense if he locks down that position, which I believe he's got the upper hand in doing. But again, I think that is reliant on another guy's position, the number 2 receiver, if Roman Wilson can lock that down. If he does, Calvin Austin has a breakout season. So put him on the list as well. So of those 3 guys, the big poll question again, who do you think will be the most improved Steeler in 2024? Darnell Washington, Nick Herbig, or Calvin Austin III? Put your comments and your answers in the comments section. We appreciate everybody in this poll question. So